Welcome to the Village in Howard. TVIH, as it's commonly known, is an organization of Howard County residents who are 55 and older. TVIH enriches the lives of county seniors to age in place, to socially connect with others, and to remain active as long as possible. This includes educational activities like the Life Planning series offered this fall. If you would like to find out more about TVIH, you can talk to me after the Q&A today, or pick up a brochure on the table on the side. Today we continue the 6th session TVIH Life Planning series. Besides today's Aging and Community session, we had an overview, legal, and housing sessions, and we'll have sessions on home care and crisis navigating. We meet every other Wednesday at 10 a.m. here at the village office. You can register on TVIH's website or call the TVIH office at 443-367-9043. We hope you can join us. Today we cover keeping you safe in your home as you age. You'll learn practical, realistic information to help you make the decision to stay in your home or not. Why do we need to plan this phase of our life? Aren't we supposed to be retired and having fun? We hope you'll see the reason to start or re-examine the aging and community parts of this plan to help yourself, your future caregivers, and your loved ones through this phase. I want to take a moment to make you aware of a new term. Many have heard of aging in place. It is being replaced by aging in community. Aging in community is a broader term than aging in place. Aging in community emphasizes both keeping people at home and connecting through social networks, and community-based supports and services, so they can stay safe at home. Both terms may be used interchangeably through the series. So let's welcome today's speaker, Marian Berman. She's the co-founder of Living in Place Solutions, a company that assesses your home, designs new plans, manages renovation projects, and provides concierge services to you. She is also a TVIH board member. Welcome, Marian.
Thank you all. I am a big talker, so there's a lot I'm going to leave out, but I'm accessible. Anybody can call me or talk to me, or I can stay after. I'm a great believer in being safe at any age, which is why I call the company Living in Place and not Aging in Place. But whatever it is that we do, we need to have a plan for it. We plan for our financial retirement, we plan for our health as much as we can, but nobody plans on living in their house for 40 years. And it is not our fault. 88% of all, if we could go to the next slide, 88% of all seniors surveyed said they want to stay in their house. 99% didn't know how to do it. Only 5% of our houses are prepared for us. 5%. They built without thinking about things. So in the 70s, the 60s, even in the 80s, we saw very narrow doorways. We saw sunken rooms, death traps for kids, death traps for toddlers, death traps for anybody. We saw narrow staircases. We saw one railing instead of two. So it's not our faults, but we should be able to live where we want without worrying about architectural impediments. And there's not a problem I can't solve if I throw enough money at it. And I have sources of finding that money. So next slide, please. So how do you begin? And I say start at the curb. Stand right where your lawn meets your sidewalk, or if you're in a condo, where the building is. Condos, you don't have as much to do, so let's just assume that you're not right this minute. First, you want to make sure your street numbers are well lit and easily written, which is an issue in Columbia particularly. It's sometimes hard to read. You want to be able to have emergency personnel find your house in the middle of the night. Are they well lit? Most of the time we look at them during the day. Go out and take a look at night. Make sure people can find your house. Is your front porch and your front door well lit? For your own sake, so you can see where to put your key if you come in that way. Are they easily accessible by anyone of any age, regardless, and this is the whole principle of universal design, which is not taking hold fast enough to suit me, regardless of age, health, or physical disability. And most importantly, are there railings for the stairs and the porch? And if just because you know that the porch ends here doesn't mean your visitors won't. Okay, now inside. These are very low cost, easy things that you can do. Upgrade to LED bulbs for lots and lots of reasons. And I'll get to the color of the light later on. In the state of Maryland, whoever your power company is will come out and give you, now they say up to 15 bulbs, but they've done a whole huge houses. They'll upgrade your bulbs, actually install them for you for free. And that number will be in the slides later. So it doesn't cost you anything, and you're not getting up on ladders to change the light bulbs. Lever door handles. As we age, some of us get arthritis in our hands. They're much more maneuverable, much easier to use. Our pathways free of clutter and wires. We all are guilty. I have done probably in the 3.5 years that I've been in business about 150 assessments. 3 houses I didn't say clear the clutter. We've lived in our houses a while, and we were raised by, if we're not children of the Depression, we were raised by them. It's very hard to get rid of stuff, and so it just stays, and we're just used to it. But if you clear that clutter, you reduce your falling risk by about 63%. It's a simple, inexpensive thing to do. Dimmer switches. As we age, our eyes need different light, but they're also finding, and I'm going to go into this more when we talk about circadian rhythms, that by having bright white light during the day and more yellow firelight at night, they reduce falls by 43% and cognition increases. Again, low cost, simple thing to do. Scatter rugs. I'm not of the philosophy that you have to get rid of scatter rugs. They warm up a house. They're warm under your feet. I am very, very staunch about securing them. When I list resources, I give suggestions. I personally, and this is just in my opinion, like Gorilla Grips. I've seen them in houses where there are rambunctious children and dogs, and the rugs have stayed down and they're easy to use. But any rug grip, I mean, I'm certainly not compensated by Gorilla Grips. I just have had very good luck with them. Are your floors worn or slippery? Hardwood floors can get very slippery as they get worn. There is a product, and again, it's listed. There's multiple companies that make it, that just gets painted onto your floor. It does not change the look of it. You would never know it was there, but it increases the slip resistance tremendously. Unfortunately, there's nothing that goes on and stays on. You have to reapply it depending on how much traffic, every 6 months to a year. But I have coupons for handyman services if anybody would like them later. The one that is like my religion, do you have grab bars? Grab bars are the next seat belts. And yesterday driving around, I passed, because it was such a beautiful day, 2 or 3 cyclists, and I saw a man who didn't have a helmet on. And I was horrified. And I also remember first seeing them and making fun of people wearing them. You know, I mean, and it just, I hear the same thing, I'll get them when I need them, everybody needs them. I have a 15-year-old nephew who's who's 5'10". He hasn't grown into himself yet, but he has a size 14 shoe. That child can't get out of the way of his feet, he falls everywhere. Even though his mom's in a rental, I went over and put grab bars. And I can't caution you enough about suction cup grab bars. In a short term, you're coming home from the hospital and the installer can't get to your house for 2 days, sure, they're fine. But they're suction cups. And a badly installed grab bar is worse than no grab bar at all. I'm going to briefly tell you where to put them in the bathroom, but my phone number is on my brochures. I am available day and night. Just call me about where to put yours. I'd rather you call me than have you fall. You want a vertical one, at least 24 inches tall. The taller the better. At the door of the shower, where you step in and step out. Because it's soap and water, you've got a perfect, and going from that transition, might just move me if you need to. From soapy to dry is a very dangerous. Then you want one along the back of the tub or the shower, no lower than 32 inches. Those are the critical ones. In terms of the others, just call me. But there should be some for in the toilet area. But those two are critical. No matter what your health, no matter what's going on. I don't believe in scaring you into doing things. But if you are the kind of personality that needs to be scared to take action, ask me my horror stories, because I've got them. Okay, no, I'm not done yet. I'm sorry, could you go back? They did a study in Great Britain, and they found that by having 2 rails and grab bars, falls were reduced by 43%. 2 rails, because when you go up with your right hand. When you go down, you turn around and use that same hand. It's also, you can catch yourself better with 2 bars. I'm not saying give up your steps, although sometimes you have to, but try to get a second rail in, at least have one. Those porches with no rails are so dangerous because you're falling onto concrete in most cases. Do you have a fire extinguisher or a fire blanket? Up until about a year ago, I was always fire extinguishers, but fire extinguishers need to be serviced. Once you use them, you have to have them refilled. A fire blanket lasts forever. It's easier to carry, to hold, to know how to operate it. You just open it up and throw it. And they keep coming down in price. There are some in the slides that come later. Okay, now I'm going to talk about bathrooms today because that's the most dangerous part of the house. So the first solution, how many people still have tubs?
Can't get out of it.
Can't get out of them. Can't get into them, can't get out of them. So, relatively, and I use that word judiciously, relatively low-cost option. Excuse me. This is one brand. It's called Clean Cut. They cut out the tub, if you can see it there, and finish it. Let's work on the assumption you don't have a cast iron tub, and then I'll tell you what it would be if you did. It's a 4-hour job. It costs about $1,000. Now, yes, that's a lot of money, but compared to a tub conversion, which I'll get to next, it's affordable, and there is help available for people that need it. Does everybody in here live in Howard County? Do you all know about the property tax credit in Howard County? Does anybody not know about it? Do you know about the Maryland State income tax credit? Maryland State, and I have QR codes for it coming. Maryland State offers a $5,000 sales tax, state income tax credit. Now they have just this year changed the hoops that you jump through, and it is fairer, but a lot more steps to it. You have to apply for the year before, when you file your taxes. Before you file your taxes, you apply. That goes into a lottery. You file your taxes sometime, and that changes, either May or through August, they pull for the lottery because they only have $1 million. Now, so far, they've never used it up. Everybody's who's applied. Now, it's 5,000 up to 50%. So if you spend 10, you'll get 5. If you spend 8, you'll get 4. They don't give you the 5 just because you've spent more than 5. Then you have to go back and refile your taxes to get that credit. And you get a refund check. So it's cumbersome, but it's $5,000. This comes in 3 different styles. One you can see here is about 4 inches from the base of the tub. This is the original one. Then they came out with what you see at the very bottom on the right-hand side. That's within an inch of the bottom of the tub from the inside. It's a little higher on the outside. And then they found that people said, oh, this could hurt my resale value. People want tubs when they have babies, so they made one with a door. Now, I am not a proponent of walk-in tubs. In fact, I don't like them at all. And the reason I don't, and what they don't tell you, is that the drain in the best ones, the very, very best one, which is about $7,000 more than the others, is 30 seconds. Now that doesn't sound like any time except when you're naked and cold. You have to wait for it to fill, so you have to get in and wait for it to fill. You have to wait for it to drain. Most of them take 2 minutes to drain. That's a very long time to lose that warmth, and the salespeople will tell you, oh, the seat is heated. Well, what does that do for the front of you? So, I mean, even if you dry off and put a robe on it, still you've been in this hot water and suddenly you're sitting around waiting. Also, it's when you're doing nothing, 2 minutes is a long time. Okay, on to the next one, please. The next best are the new shower in a day wall panels. Everybody's got one. There are some advantages. For one thing, they almost all have antimicrobial properties, which became important to us a few years ago. They are much easier to clean. They are mildew and mold resistant, and they have almost no seams. Most of them look fake. I brought from a company that I do like a few of theirs that have texture to it, so it's not all shiny. It always reminds me of the paneling that you used to see in Exxon bathrooms with the molding that covered the lip, the little skinny molding. The disadvantage is it takes an act of Congress to convince the shower in a day contractors to not put that 4-inch top step in. If you're spending that much money, and these are not cheap, they start at about $15,000, depending on the size of your shower. You should not have to step over anything. A zero threshold shower is the most sensible way, because no matter what's going on in your life, you can get in and out of that shower. Even if you're in a wheelchair, you can wheel in. So there are any number of companies, any number of configurations. This is a company that can do, most often they do that 1-inch. Again, I think that's a tripping hazard. But if budget or time or whatever requires it, it's a good alternative. And then on to the best. Best is a tile shower. And my personal best, and what the powers that be who decide what is ADA and what's safest, whether it's the aging in place people, the universal design people, living in place people, the Safe Home America, CHAMP, they all agree that a wet room is the best. And a wet room has been the concept in Europe for decades. There's usually a drain in the floor, or everything in the area can get wet. You can see that the vanity is down, and even that can get wet. And then there's a short-term, a shower conversion is going to run about $35,000. About. And you can go up from there if you've got extravagant taste. Or a very large bathroom. You know, some of the houses in the 80s and 90s, bathrooms got bigger and bigger and bigger. A short-term solution, so you don't have to panic. Now, this is at this point in time, it's $4,500. This is a portable shower. It comes in boxes that are small enough they would fit in my little Honda Fit, which is little. It assembles with clamps. You can almost see them there. A 8-year-old can put it together. It doesn't require any tools. It doesn't require any special handyman skills. It works. There's a drain pan in the bottom of it, so the water goes into that. It works with a garden hose to the kitchen sink. It takes up a 4-foot by 4-foot footprint. So, God forbid, one of you falls, breaks a hip, come home from the hospital, bathroom's on the 2nd floor. They say, I'm sorry, it's going to be 8-10 weeks till you get up your stairs. This is an alternative. I'm trying to get some of the medical equipment places to rent them. I thought that would be a perfect thing to rent, because need is usually short term. They're worried about storing them, because it fits in my Honda Fit, but it fills my Honda Fit, so the warehouses get pretty full. But you'll see it, I think, within the next few years. The best thing about aging right now is our sheer numbers. 10,000 of us turn 65 every single day in this country, and next year, 2025, it'll be 15,000. So for the first time, really, since we were young adults, we have real buying power, we have voting power, and they are marketing to us. And products are coming on the market. It's great for somebody like me who's a nerd. And I go down the rabbit holes on the internet every night finding the new things, because there's something new every day. Okay, next slide, please. Okay, adding rails. And you can add a single straightforward rail. This was a staircase designed by a trained chimpanzee and a 3-year-old child. I didn't put the before in. Where these rails with the glass panels are now was completely open. It was terrifying. I don't have balance issues, but I needed someone to hold my hand and take me up those stairs when I came to see it. They were used to it being open and airy, so that was an alternative we came up with. Okay, next slide. Obviously, stairs are an issue. Stair lifts used to be very large, very cumbersome, very expensive. They've come down in price now. If you've got a straight staircase, you can get a stair lift for $3,500, or you can rent a stair lift. Now, the rental doesn't make sense for long term. It's $300 a month. But if it's a short-term need, it gets you up the steps. I had an incident in my life where I couldn't get up my steps, and it was devastating. Okay, and they come, now you can get curves, you can get custom made. Now they go up from that $3,500. And they even have one that goes on the outside of the stairs. So if you have a narrow stair, it can still get you up. if you could advance the slide, please. Home lifts. About 10 years ago, we started seeing what they started calling originally through the floors. These do not need a shaft. They cut a hole in the floor. You can see the top of the one in the middle. It has the flooring of the room above. So when it goes up, it makes a floor. There's no hole there. These start about 25,000, realistically about 65,000. Now again, that's a ton of money, but it's way less than going into Miller's grant. The more expensive ones, and you have to be careful, the single person ones will not take a wheelchair, will not take you holding a basket of laundry. So you want a two-person. There's only 1 or 2 brands that will do 3 floors, so we'll take you down to your basement, and some of the older houses, bedroom on the top floor, a laundry room in the basement. I'm just now seeing that dumbwaiters are coming down in price. They were more expensive than elevators, which made no sense to me whatsoever. But that may be an alternative in the next year or so. And then if you want to go to the next one, shaft elevators. I actually put one in for somebody about 10 years ago. She had claustrophobia. There was no way she could get a small one. She had no heirs and lots of money. And so she didn't care what it cost. At that point in time, it was about $75,000. Now, a minimum of $100,000. So just not advocating that you get these things, but just so you know what you're looking at in terms of what it would cost. And then, now, by adjusting our circadian rhythm, they have found that falls are reduced by 43%. I don't know why 43 is a magic number in fall reduction, but it seems to be. To accomplish this, light should be bright white. And these are only in rooms you live in that you spend a lot of time in. Bright white or cool white, or whatever your tolerance is. And yellowish, warmer light at night. They found, and if you go into memory care units, you're going to see them switching over. They used in nursing homes, in memory care wards, in some hospitals, that yellow fluorescent light, because it kept people calm. And it used to be that you would go into memory care and 3/4 of the residents would be sleeping in their chairs. They're not anymore, in where they've adjusted the light for people. And we're going to see more and more of that. We have a great asset in Howard County. The lady named Morgan, who owns Light and Day, and she has a bulb section, is a walking authority on bulbs. I don't worry about knowing too much because I know her, and I recommend her to everybody, and she's not out to put her hand in your pocket. This is the number for the free light bulbs. You will all have access to these slides if you don't want to take notes now. That's a type of lever style. Handles for cabinets, kitchen and bathroom should be more U-shaped, that you can get your hand in it and pull as opposed to knob. Again, this is part of universal design based on arthritis in our hands. Cord covers. There's tons of brands of them, but you can put them on the wall, you can put them on the floor. But they're tapered so that it's almost like a little lamp. You're less apt to catch your foot and fall. And they come in I think it's, like in different colors, so you shouldn't have any problem blending it in. These are the Gorilla Grips. My first experience, I have two daughters. One is prissy perfect, and the other is very casual. She has two rambunctious boys. At that point in time, she had a Great Dane, and she had two cats. And I went to stay with the boys and tripped over the rug every time I walked in and out of the room because it folded up on itself. And I said to the boys, you know what, we're fixing this. And I got these just because they were the first one that came up on Amazon and they could deliver them the next day. The boys and I put it down with no problem at all, and I am not strong. And the next year when I went back, they're still down. So I'm very, very pleased with their performance. This is the slip-free floor treatment. There are lots of different brands, but you want to look for anti-slip floor treatment and that it's good on all these different kinds of substrates. Yes, sir.
Can I use that stuff on a bathtub?
Yes. We're going to take questions at the end if anybody else has more. But yes, you can. This is the fire blanket. There's lots of companies that sell it, and there's lots of fire blankets coming onto the market, but they are great.
Every family member got one from me last year.
That's a great gift.
Yeah, for Christmas.
It's the kind of thing you don't think to buy for yourself. But I have a fire extinguisher. Until I got into this business, it never occurred to me to check it to see if it was full. Even though when I had my store, I used to have it had to have it inspected every year. And there was somebody that came in once a year and filled it for us. These are the tax credit sources. Now, I don't know if anybody would apply to the, this would apply to anybody, but there is also a grant in Maryland for low-income families. Now, by low income, because we live in Howard County, first off, it is asset blind. It has nothing to do with your assets. It does, however, have to do with your income. So if your income is less than $55,000 a year, you are eligible for $35,000. They call it a mortgage, but it's interest-free, and there's no payment due ever until the deed changes hands. And if there's two of you on the deed, if one of you moves out or passes away, the other one can stay there until the deed is signed over to someone else. So I just, if that applies to you or someone you know, reach out to me and I'll send you that information. Part of a plan, long-term, is to know what you're going to do in a worst-case scenario. So I am a great believer in, while you're healthy and active, to make the rounds and look at what's offered in either the continuing care communities or the nursing homes that are that are private homes that take in 6 or 8 people, which tend to be lower. Just know where you'll be comfortable, because making that decision in the heat of the moment is not the best way to make that decision. You don't need to do anything. You don't need to get on a waiting list. You just have to have a general idea of what you want your family to look for should you need to go into a place with more care.